Hello, everyone, and welcome to the finale of Super Mario Sunshine 100%. We have some blue coins to get, and then the final boss, which is just Bowser sitting in a hot tub.
Wow, Ryan. When you put it that way, it sounds really lame.
It is really lame.
What do you mean when you put it that way? It's lame when you play it.
What, you don't like Shower with Your Dad Simulator as the final boss of Mario Sunshine?
I don't know who's the bigger asshole in this game. Bowser for, building a hot tub in a volcano and making things a problem for Delfino, or Mario for just overturning the hot tub.
Where's the thing, though?
Bowser didn't do shit.
Bowser didn't do anything. Yeah, like building the hot tub on top of the volcano is him just being extra, but that has no effect on the inhabitants of
Yeah,
Delfino.
no, it didn't do it. He doesn't make the volcano erupt. He doesn't, he's just hanging out,
So the end game of this basically is Mario being a shit to Bowser in retaliation for his poor parenting.
I mean, okay, yeah, Bowser's poor parenting is definitely part of it, but the whole thing is Junior's fault. Bowser didn't do crap. He's basically just oh, Bowser, you brought that home.
Now, neglect is a problem. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I don't think folks were ready for the final boss to just be entirely within the legal system, and it's just getting Bowser Jr. incarcerated.
No, he'd get off with a warning because his dad's rich.
Also, Junior's a minor, so like at the most he wouldn't even go to juvie, would he?
No, Bowser Jr. would get volunteer hours at best, I think, for this. Because what did he do? Vandalism? Okay, yeah, sure. He'd pay a fine or do a couple hours of community service. That's all.
Is Bowser rich?
He's a king.
He's a king.
But he's also magical, though. You don't need money to be a practitioner of the dark arts.
First off, Bowser leaves money lying around his house all the time. Owns 15 different castles, all right? Collects taxes, okay, because he is a king, all right? Can afford all of these, clown cars. He's got, in Paper Mario, he's got 30 of them in his garage.
I'm seeing, but here's the thing, I can easily explain all that away with just magic.
Yeah, okay, so then maybe he's not rich in, bank account, but if you can create anything that you need out of thin air, then I would say that it counts as being rich.
I just find it funny at the idea of seeing Bowser have all of these fanciful items and wares, and you check his bank account and it's a flat fucking zero. Wait a minute.
At least he's not overdrawn.
Maybe not.
Guys, he's a king. He collects taxes. He's
I know,
rich.
that's what I'm saying.
That was part of Ted's initial list.
The property value alone of 17 different Bowser's castles probably has to put him in the millions, I would imagine. And and since he's a king, he does not have to pay property taxes on himself. Or I guess he does, but then he just takes money out of his bank account and puts it back in. So, there's that. Anyway,
What?
Point being, Bowser Jr. is a Nepo baby in this essay.
It's I can just see Bowser sitting in his throne room trying to decide that year whether he wants to see his tax money on the spreadsheet go up a little artificially by paying taxes on his own properties, or doesn't want to pay taxes because he just thinks it's an insult for a king to pay taxes.
It kind of is when you think about it, but,
Which mood am I feeling harder this year?
I mean, at the very least, Bowser doesn't spend as frivolously as Princess Peach does, who has a tennis court, golf course, go-kart track, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Bowser 2 also has a golf course, tennis court,
Hold on.
baseball.
Wait a second. Is it frivolous if it's being actively used?
Is it available to the public? As far as I'm aware, only Princess Peach's chosen racers are allowed in the go-kart race, or maybe you pay an entrance fee to be one of the spectators.
Well, I mean, there sure are a lot of Toads, but...
Yeah, but only the Toad is the one who gets to play tennis in Princess Peach's tennis court.
I think we can agree that the Toad is the stand-in for the entire Mushroom Kingdom in all of these spin-off franchises.
Listen, I'm just saying, Princess Peach sure does have an awful lot of tennis courts, and I don't see the average lifespan or quality of life of the average toad in Mushroom Kingdom increasing every year. You know?
Well, I mean, apart from the occasional odd Koopa invasion, they seem to be doing pretty well in general.
You know, I don't know, because here's the thing, at least Bowser is committing to the evil villain bit. Like, he doesn't have to, you know, think about the quality of his subjects, because he's a dick. That's like his whole thing.
Look, I'm not any Austin. I'm just saying that when you play the Super Mario RPGs of the series and you actually get to talk to the Toads, they seem pretty happy. They seem to like their ruler.
I don't know. Rogueport doesn't seem to be in a particularly good place.
Rogueport isn't the Mushroom Kingdom. Rogueport is not ruled by Princess Peach. It is a different setting. Yeah, I'm saying, like, when you play...
is she bolstering trade with other nations? You know, we don't see Princess Peach doing.
Well, she's a princess, not a queen.
Wait, aren't they? Don't they put the? Well, maybe even then, don't the Mushroom Kingdom bolster trade and connections with the Bean Kingdom? And
there is an exchange rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard though, because anytime that you need to cross the border to sell goods, you have to play jump rope, which takes a really long time.
Would you rather do jump rope or standard customs? Because you can lose shit in customs.
Yeah, but I can't beat the jump rope minigame, so I'll do the one I know I can do.
Just make sure that your travel shampoo is the exact right size and not a fraction of an ounce larger.
Maybe don't head to the knife store in the Bean Kingdom before going on the airplane back to Mushroom
I'm
Kingdom.
Also, you know, I don't think that there's any regulation of labor laws or intellectual property, considering that Wario is able to sell his clearly copyright infringing microgames. You know, he's allowing children to work for him. 9-Volt is a child. Thank you very much.
9-Volt's not a child. He's a gamer.
Also, just consider it an internship.
An unpaid internship.
Oh, you know what, Ryan, you got a good point. Wario would do that because then he also doesn't have to pay 9-Volt. Not that he pays any of them, to be fair.
Okay, but like back to the Mushroom Kingdom though. What I was saying is that when you do talk to the NPCs, they generally seem to be happy, and they generally like Princess Peach as a ruler.
That should be your first suspicion, all right? Because even if you're living in the most prosperous country on the planet, nobody likes their government, ever.
But isn't that more on us in our real-life viewpoints?
Well, I mean, in fantasy worlds, at least, it is generally an indicator that the ruler is competent when people like them.
I mean, this is me, you know, not remembering my medieval history very well. As far as I can remember, people either didn't like their aristocracy or they just didn't pay attention to them because they had
but again, real life. We're talking strictly in a fantasy setting.
Real life medieval and fantasy medieval are different in a very key way, and that is that like the people in fantasy medieval are generally actually educated,
and they brush their teeth.
That too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would affect their opinion of government, but it is true.
I forgot to brush my teeth. I think I hate the government today.
The medieval English thought that the Vikings were too clean, believe it or not. They're like, oh, they wash too much. That's weird. And I'm like, excuse me.
I mean, on the thing of brushing your teeth, that is a side quest and metaphor, getting someone a toothbrush.
You know, every now and then I do notice that how much like people seem to think basic hygiene is not masculine enough, and I'm just like, well, at least they're not the Vikings. And then I remember the Vikings were criticized for that, and I'm just like, oh, I guess we've made progress as a species.
Are men just gross? In this essay.
I mean, have you ever been to a Magic the Gathering tournament?
Have you been to any tournament, for that matter? Good
point, well made. One of my favorite images online, you can look it up if you search Magic the Gathering butt crack, is just this guy with this huge armor crack sitting and playing Magic the Gathering, and this other guy holding his hands like this.
Yeah, like in a praying motion, yeah.
And he's like, I believe there's multiple of them because he saw multiple people like that. It's like, guys,
Yeah,
what
I think
about,
he made it a thing to like just like chronicle his tournament like visits.
Yeah,
And there's always someone with their ass hanging out.
yeah. Wear a belt, please. Thank you.
The answer is yes, men are gross. Signed, a man.
Please wear deodorant. I'm begging.
And wash your goddamn ball sack.
Anyway, that tangent went in a weird direction.
This is heading too close to Lewis, which does not be reminded of his tainted ball sack.
Hey, I wash myself all over almost every day. I say almost every day because sometimes I just come home from work and fall right asleep.
Right asleep, yeah.
And then I have to do it in the morning instead. That's what happens when you work 10-hour workdays.
You have tainted your bed sheets.
Yeah, but they can just go in the laundry. Who cares?
You just can pick up 2 blue coins at once.
Yes.
Oh, and you only got 1 save prompt for that. That's interesting.
Speedrun strats.
Sure.
Or the worst timeline, the game eats that blue coin, doesn't give it to you, and then you can never get 100% in Super Mario Sunshine.
You're not wrong. No, because I think what matters most importantly is that the coin counter accounted for both at the same time. So by saving the game, it will still count that individual. The second blue coin.
The coin counter goes up before the save prompt appears, and then if the save prompt is prompted twice, it just doesn't once. It's not a big deal. They probably tested that in the engine during like the preliminaries of design, and set it up that way early on.
I sure hope so, because again, the worst timeline where the game, because that is possible in some games where you can just lose items and then you can never finish.
It is possible to lose the final key in Luigi's Mansion 1 on GameCube.
Oh, it is? Oh, God.
Yeah.
I know in Pikmin 1, there's one of the required ship parts is on a cliff top, and it is possible for it to bounce off and land into the bottomless pit below, and it will never respawn. And then that save file is just dead.
In defense of the Luigi's Mansion scenario, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, you got to be an idiot to miss that fucking key, though. Like when it spawns in when you need to pick it up for story progression. So if you just ignore that son of a bitch, I feel that's on you.
It's true, but it is possible, is the thing.
So if you don't pick up the key, it won't respawn later?
No, it will not.
You're not wrong, John, but at the same time, it's weird that the developers didn't program a contingency. Just like it was
I will not argue that. But if it's really easy to avoid...
Well, I mean, it's really easy to avoid soft locking yourself in Metroid Other M2, but they still managed to fuck that up, and it still got people soft locked. So,
I think that the Metroid Other M1 is a little bit less...
How dare you walk backwards?
In a Metroid game? I know. Weird.
Clearly, you never played this series before.
There's also the soft lock in Twilight Princess in the original version.
Oh, yeah, that's where...
Wait, are you thinking Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword?
Where if you save in the one specific spot, you basically don't set a flag, but you're in the area that you're not supposed that you saved in, so it kind of just doesn't know what to do, and you can't transform into the wolf and warp. So the game it's a soft lock.
That's unfortunate. So I was thinking of Skyward Sword because Skyward Sword had a similar issue on the original Wii release that required a separate patch channel to be made for it just to patch the game.
If I remember correctly, the one in Twilight Princess, that's like right after you do the fight with the guy on the pig. Right over the bridge. I
believe so. It's when you're trying to. It's when you find the rusted cannon and you have to find after finding the letters to open it up, and you have to warp it to the guy to fix it.
Oh, okay.
If you save in that room,
that's...
but don't warp the cannon out, the guy will warp back to being in there, and you can't get him to leave. But you also can't warp because Mint will say, hey, someone's watching, don't do that. And that's a good chunk in the game, too, so you have to do like 2/3 of the game over again if you do that.
This just gets me thinking about how fucked console players were when glitches like this occurred in the old days.
Oh, you mean Dr. Robotnik's diabolical traps?
Dr. Robotnik's diabolical traps. Bethesda was making a Terminator game at one point, and they put a similar explanation in the manual for a glitch where the enemies would clip through walls sometimes.
In defense of, like, at the very least, with Robotnik's diabolical traps, you know, Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, well, more Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, had a save feature, so at the very most, you're losing a stage worth of time. But something like the Twilight Princess stuff, that you have to restart. Or at least reload a separate save file.
And that's not a short game either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, before the days consoles got patches, or a method for patching at all, the only way to fix that kind of stuff was to just quietly release a revision on the greatest hits version or something.
Yeah, but the damage is already done, though, because if I buy Twilight Princess, right, and my game is unwinnable, I don't want to buy the game again, you know, like...
Yeah, I know, and it's like, you know, old console games, they were kind of fucked when that stuff happened.
That was something that I wanted to bring up when we were talking about Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. It's just like, as a kid, I would have a really hard time getting my parents to agree to buying me the same game again. Like, I had trouble getting my parents to buy me the first Banjo-Kazooie because I liked Banjo-Tooie so much. Because, like, don't you already have that game? You know, or people had enough trouble trying to get their parents to buy them a Super Nintendo because you have a Nintendo. Why do you need two Nintendos?
You know, it's not like the concept of a sequel is foreign to you people. Come on.
Yeah, but
get
most
your head in the
sequels
game.
don't cost $200 for them to buy, is the problem.
Well, Banjo-Tooie didn't cost $200.
Why
Jeez.
would you want to go see Empire? Didn't you already see Star Wars? You would never hear any adult say that. So why apply that to video games?
Again, buying a movie ticket back then cost like $5. I know it's weird to think that going to the movies once cost less than $10, but it certainly did. Not that long ago either, as opposed to like, if you want popcorn, it's like $30 now, which is like, ugh.
Yeah. The last time I went to the movie theater was for Jurassic World Dominion. And, you know, I liked the movie well enough. It's better in its extended version, but, you know, I liked the movie well enough. But the actual theater experience, I was like, hey, this is nice. I would do it more often if it was about $20 cheaper.
And that's every blue coin in the game.
You're still missing a shine.
Yeah, because that's the final one.
Oh, okay.
So your last blue coin was just munching down the goddamn butterflies.
Yep.
Great. Wonderful. Now to go turn in all these blue coins for shine sprites.
Yep.
Do they at the very least give them to you all at once?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they
Thankfully.
do.
You don't have to see it 24 times in a row.
Could you imagine?
Imagine if they not only did that, but like every other shine in the game, warped you back to the middle of Delfino Plaza.
Oh my god. I'm a tire.
All right.
Police, arrest these people. They're hoarding shine sprites.
You know, it figures that these guys are raccoon people. It's like they were deliberately trying to make the Animal Crossing reference.
I don't think these guys are going to see a day in prison. If they want to arrest Bowser.
Again, Bowser did nothing wrong. He's just on vacation.
Bowser is a foreign ruler. He has diplomatic immunity.
Oh,
These
fuck.
guys, not so much.
Bowser Jr. has that too. God damn it.
No, they're just going to fucking... Danny Glover.
What's Danny Glover gonna do?
He can shoot because lethal weapon. The guy had diplomatic immunity and he shoots him and he says it's just been revoked. Now, granted, he's probably gonna get released from the force anyway from that. But it was
You're a
really
loose
cool.
cannon cop who never plays by the rules.
Yeah,
you know.
but that doesn't mean you're a loose cop. You're a loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules. That doesn't make you free from consequences, motherfucker.
Tell that to,
You're going.
tell that to,
going to jail.
I was gonna say, tell that to Clint Eastwood.
The mayor's gonna have your badge over this, man.
It's kind of funny how that trope, like, emerged, appealing to people who were frustrated with the police for all the red tape that gets in the way of them doing their job. And now, how far away from that have we come?
I would
In-
like
in the-
I would like very tight cannons who play by every rule possible on the course. Can we have more rules? Can we have even tighter cannons?
I want to know what a tight cannon is.
I'll tell you when you're older.
Okay. Thanks, Dad.
As you know, pop culture and the way it evolves over time, and the reasons it evolves over time, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, God, I can't believe we're talking about freaking police politics in Super Mario Sunshine. The perception of the police changes drastically over the decades, so I think that's got a lot to do with it for sure.
Oh boy, threading the needle here.
So, when you're just doing the boat to get to the other side, it's not that bad. It's just the precision trying to get the blue coins is where that thing sucks.
Yeah.
That's part of why this level blows, is because it's either extraordinarily frustrating or really easy and very anticlimactic. There's no in between at all.
Were you angry at the boat?
Yes, because I hate the boat.
The boat got you where you needed to go just fine.
I mean, do you not remember the 30
You're that
minutes Ryan
dickhead that has a
spent-
very pleasant Uber ride, rates 1 star anyway. Fuck you.
Well, I don't know. When you have an Uber ride, you're not generally steering the car yourself.
If I had to steer my own Uber ride, I would give it 1 star.
Source: I am an Uber driver. I know how it goes. What the shit?
Why does Peach look really plastic in this?
Because they use the Sonic Adventure DX. Shade.
No, she's in the middle of a steam cloud. She is like wet, really wet right now, and not in the sexy way.
What? Jesus Christ.
She's in a full ballroom gown, floating around in a hot tub. That is not a comfortable situation.
What do you think Bowser is like bathing in? It's dangerous to the
Jello?
touch.
A Nickelodeon slime?
I mean, I was thinking Ghostbusters for some reason.
I can see Ghostbusters.
It does remind me of regular slime, but this is lethal to the touch. Slime is supposed to make you feel happy.
Maybe that's why he's bathing in it.
Also, it's weird playing this final boss without massive amounts of slowdown.
Oh yeah, it does slow down a lot on the original GameCube version. I forgot that.
Oh!
It's time for a dip, Mario.
Would you say worst Mario final boss?
Probably.
I'm struggling to think
Are we
of
talking? We're just talking all encompassing, or we're keeping it 2D, 3D? Like what?
Mario, any Mario.
Mario?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Mario 1 wasn't much. It's no different than any other Bowser encounter.
Yeah, but I would take the standard Bowser flagpole than over this. There's more tension to it, for sure.
well, I mean, from a mechanical perspective, I like this boss more than I like anything in Super Mario 64, the classic Marios. But from a narrative, gameplay, climax perspective, it's a very weird final boss to end on.
It also only takes 30 seconds.
I would have liked that boss if it were a mid-game boss, maybe, and there was something else to look forward to after, but it's just kind of like an odd ending. Also, what the fuck is up with the compression on this FMV?
Because it's taken directly from the GameCube and it wasn't properly upscaled.
Oh no, Flood's dying.
Well, I mean, it didn't look this bad in the opening, did it?
Flood? Dead?
Flood is dead.
Was I of assistance? No. My backpack! It died for our sins.
It's alright, I still have the receipt.
It could carry a whole 3 gallons of water. 3 gallons? You couldn't possibly hover with it. Shut up. Shut up your face.
Shut up your face.
And then Flood goes back to life.
Our reward for that is a regular old Shine Sprite.
Yep.
Why not?
All 120.
I guess this was before they thought of the concept of the Grand Stars. Although, I like how in Odyssey, their stand-in for that idea was just 3 moons duct taped together.
I honestly thought that was kind of funny. It's just like, oh, cool, even more.
Durr? I'm sorry, just the way Bowser looks like when he's surprised. It's just like his mouth can't emote, so it just gawps.
I like how Bowser Jr. says to his dad, when I grow up, I'm gonna commit murder. And Bowser's like, that's my boy! Good job, Jr.
Also, no, Bowser did do something. He manipulated his son into doing all this shit by lying to him about who his mama was. That's criminal.
Yes.
Book him.
Suspicion of murder.
What?
What was the whole thing with Flood possibly dying if it just comes back just right there?
I mean, he's a backpack. He can tighten a few screws and then he'll be fine.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, why bother with that? But even as a gag, it was like, I always found that very strange.
I think it was a gag, honestly. He's like being all dramatic about the sacrifice moment, and this fat plumber with a huge nose is being all sad.
No, you see, in that way, I would have framed the joke differently then, where Flood's like seemingly dying was I have assistance, and then like Mario was somber, but then Princess Peach says, "Oh no, the batteries ran out," and then he comes back to life. For them to just like, oh shit, Flood's dead, cut to Bowser Jr., cut to ending, and then Flood's okay, I think it just rings weird.
So the thing about this game's story is that they try to have a lot of story at the beginning. It's extremely front-loaded. And then once there's the Bowser Jr. reveal and Princess Peach is kidnapped, there's just nothing until the very end of the game. So, like...
What we don't see is off-screen, Egad was frantically, like, working at a computer to reassemble Flood's mind. And then when Flood woke up, he's like, that's my boy.
So yeah, Mario Sunshine. It's the Mario game of all time.
It's certainly... Well, no.
I would say it's the 3D Mario game of all time.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, New Super Mario Brothers, whatever, is the Mario game of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like
It's not
a bad game.
No,
but
it's not even like a conceptually boring game because there's a lot of ambitious stuff in here. It's just not as polished and well put together as
look
the
at
others.
that 240-ass postcard.
Yeah, no, they didn't bother upscaling the postcard.
Man, I can't see any of the detail.
Do you want to save? Hit no. Do it, coward. The game doesn't deserve 120
You've collected
shines.
all the shine sprites while your counter is at 119. It's like, sure about that? Because I think you may be lying. No, like, again, it is a perfectly fine game. I will forever argue that I think it's better than 64 when you're just playing it normally. It's when you're trying to go for everything where I think it just takes a sudden nosedive.
I think in the aspect of level design and control, you're right, John. I don't think that all of the pieces of the game's design come together well enough to say that.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I'm just playing Super Mario 64 normally, and when I'm just playing 64 for completion, both of those experiences are more consistently satisfying because of the way the game is constructed.
And I'll argue the level of control, dexterity, and fun I can have with Flood balances that scale. But I understand to each his own.
So about Sunshine, like, there's a lot of individual things about Sunshine to like. I just think that the game is less than the sum of its parts, because just put together, there's so much stuff that gets in the way of the fun elements, where it's just like... The best kinds of games, I think, are the ones where it's just like, oh, I remember that level, oh, I remember that shine, I remember that moon, and then you're enjoying yourself. Whereas with Sunshine, it's like, oh, I remember this one. I never look forward to any individual mission in Sunshine. So, I mean, I haven't played 64 or Sunshine in a long enough time to say, like, which one I think controls smoother. But if I was thinking about, like, which levels and what overall experience I would prefer, I would pick 64, I think, every single time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just think 64 comes together better with what it created at the time than Sunshine does. Like, you can feel Sunshine's kind of rough development when you play it.
But yeah, I generally agree there. I mean, I'm the 64 stan out of all of us here, so that's kind of where my allegiances
So you say
lie,
with
but
no bias whatsoever, 64 is the better game.
I just feel it is. It's more. It's just more cohesive overall. So
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, you think whatever you want, and my thing comes from again. I didn't have that. I didn't have 64 growing up. I played 64 after Sunshine, and I just thought, outside of a couple of things in the sense of freedom you have collecting power stars, I thought everything was a step back. But still more than playable. I can play 64 just fine. It's just that if you were to put a gun in my head, I'm saying Galaxy.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm kind of the same, but like I appreciated Sunshine's like world building a lot more than I necessarily gave it credit for over the years, and I'm glad to see that we all have a game that we can agree is the best one. Super Mario Odyssey, yeah.
I mean, I think Galaxy's better than Odyssey, but that's like comparing tomatoes and potatoes. So,
I'd have to think about that. Yeah. I want to instinctively agree, but I have to think about that.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that they're such drastically different games that it's hard to compare, but I think we're getting off topic. Next time, we will never touch another blue coin as long as we live.
Yep, we'll see you all in the next playthrough. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all later. Bye.